Hi everybody, you're very welcome back to Law Hero. My name is Jen. I make videos about the law and other things. And today I have a very interesting topic to discuss. And I really hope in the comments you can give me your feedback. But this is this parasocial relationship or the illusion of connection and trusting people online. Now, of course, I would be completely not self-aware if I didn't call out myself as an authority, as an online authority, and whether I should be trusted or not. I think you should openly listen and take internet advice with a pinch of salt, because the problem is you're only seeing the tip of the iceberg a lot of the time. And when I talk about Huberman, it's definitely the tip of the iceberg kind of stuff. You're not seeing the social strata, you're not seeing the educational background, you're not seeing all the nooks and crannies that have led someone sitting in front of a camera like I am right now and putting themselves out there to discuss different topics. What is the self-interest? Like, what is my self-interest in discussing this topic today? Full disclosure, I love talking about different topics. It's a form of therapy for me, and I love hearing other people's opinions on these things, but I also like giving my own opinion, and it pushes me to be a more critical person, I guess. So that's my motivation for making this video. In an age where digital media dominates our daily lives, it is easier than ever to feel connected to individuals we have never met. Whether it's a YouTuber who shares intimate details of their life, a wellness guru whose advice shapes our routines, or a scientist we trust implicitly, these figures often feel like close friends, mentors, and even saviors. This phenomenon is known as a parasocial relationship, a one-sided emotional attachment between an individual and a media figure who remains largely unaware of their existence. While parasocial relationships have existed for decades, even think of royals going back in the day, the rise of social media and long-form digital content has amplified their prevalence and intensity. And one person I'd like to examine is Mr. Andrew Huberman, who is a neuroscientist with a massive following, and he has become a source of trust and admiration, with his advice shaping the daily habits of millions. However, as an article in the Irish Times recently explored, the problem arises when people become so emotionally invested in these figures that they begin to see themselves, these people, not just as educators or entertainers. The term parasocial relationship was first coined in the 1950s by Horton and Wole, who observed how they formed emotional attachments to television personalities. And these relationships are fundamentally one-sided, meaning the individual invests time, energy, and emotion into a media figure who in reality does not reciprocate or even acknowledge their existence. And there are several psychological mechanisms that explain why a parasocial relationship forms and thrives. So the first one is familiarity and consistency. The more we see someone, the more familiar they become. This is why you get office crushes. Repeated exposure creates a sense of closeness, even if the relationship is entirely one-sided. Daily vloggers, podcasters, and social media influencers cultivate this bond by maintaining a consistent presence in their followers' lives. And I'm sure we've all overindulged in people's lives, especially if they're consistent in posting. The second big reason then is emotional investment. Many content creators share personal struggles, vulnerabilities, and triumphs, creating an illusion of intimacy. And this is particularly effective in the self-help and wellness communities, where figures like Huberman, Andrew Tate, or Jordan Peterson position themselves as mentors, guiding people towards self-improvement. The next reason is the authority effect, or the authority bias. When a media figure possesses expertise in a particular field, such as fitness, neuroscience, or psychology, audiences may view them as a highly credible source of information, and this can lead to a form of unquestioning loyalty, where their words are taken as truth without critical examination. The need for connection is also a reason why parasocial relationships are formed. In a world where we are becoming much lonelier because of our phones, ironically, loneliness is increasingly prevalent. Parasocial relationships can provide a sense of companionship, and engaging with familiar voices and faces can offer comfort, particularly for individuals who lack strong real-life social networks. So what are the upsides of parasocial relationships? Because it can't all be bad. Well, they're not inherently negative. In fact, they can offer several benefits. And the first one is, of course, motivation or inspiration. Many people credit their favorite content creators with motivating them to improve their lives or become their best selves. Whether it's a fitness influencer encouraging you to have healthier habits, or a financial expert providing guidance, they can be a source of positive change, something we all acknowledge. The second one is around educational value. I mean, at the end of the day, these people are offering value, and figures like Huberman provide access to scientific insights that might otherwise not be available to the public. And when approached critically, the knowledge shared by such individual can be beneficial. And I think the key there is critical, and especially we saw this with Diary of a CEO. It lacked criticality a lot of the time. The third big one is emotional comfort. Watching or listening to a familiar creator can be quite soothing, especially for individuals experiencing loneliness, anxiety, or depression. This is why many people turn to podcasts, vlogs, or live streams for a sense of companionship. The fourth one is community building. Parasocial relationships often extend into online communities where like-minded individuals engage in discussions, share their experiences, and support one another. This can foster a sense of belonging and collective learning. So when are parasocial relationships unhealthy? Well, there are clear benefits, as I just outlined, but they can lead to some problematic behaviours and unrealistic expectations. And the dangers include the illusion of mutuality. Some individuals begin to believe that their connection to a public figure is real and reciprocal. This can lead to disappointment or even feelings of betrayal when the media figure does not behave in ways that aligns with the audience's expectations. The second one is an unquestioning loyalty. And the first thing that pops out to me about that one is Andrew Tate, despite the criminal convictions, it was still, people stood behind him. And this is the problem with not being critical about the advice that comes from this person. This is particularly concerning in areas like health, finance, or self-help, where bad advice can have real-world consequences. The wellness industry is rife with this. When you see the pseudoscience or the fake natty bros. And the next one is emotional dependency. Some individuals rely on their parasocial relationship for emotional stability, viewing their favorite influencer as a constant source of validation and comfort. And this is dangerous when the audience starts to prioritize the media figure's opinion over their own well-being or real-life relationships. So finally, looking at Andrew Huberman, who I'm a big fan of, and the cult of self-optimization. So this recent Irish Times article, it highlighted a growing trend that the rise of figures like Huberman as a modern day wellness guru. He's a neuroscientist, his advice is science backed. He does sleep, focus, dopamine regulation, and that resonates with everybody because we're all human. We've all had a human experience and we all want to optimize our life. Who doesn't want to sleep more and sleep better? However, as the article suggests, this level of devotion can lead to over-reliance on his guidance. So when you treat his insight as an absolute truth rather than general advice, as I say, take it with a pinch of salt, you risk losing your own agency when you make decisions, and this is emblematic of a larger issue, our increasing dependence on parasocial figures to provide structure, purpose and solution to our lives. And that's why I believe Trump was elected in the US. People love somebody who talks with conviction and authority, and without criticality. These people sound very convincing. So how do you maintain a healthy perspective when you're bamboozled by this person? I mean, they're an inevitable part of our lives, and we can't eliminate them. We just need to manage them wisely. So, as I said, recognize the one-sided nature of parasocial relationships. You're only getting one side of the story. You're not allowed to ask questions. The only way you can really get to the bottom of something is if you are critical yourself, if you go and, do your own research or talk to people or have your own life experience. The second one is around questioning their authority. So, just because you're a neuroscientist or a lawyer, it doesn't mean you have, a monopoly over an area. Experts can be wrong or even biased. It's important to fact check claims and seek diverse sources of information and avoid blind loyalty to any one figure. Indeed, I was watching the Kurzgesagt, which I think is top tier when it comes to science and science-backed theories and explanation of science-backed theories. And I think what it was, the fact was that, I think it was the circumference of the globe or something like that, some statistical measurement of how long it would take to travel the entire globe. And it was taken as a fact. And when they actually went to research it, they could find no science or, authority on this fact. And it took them months and months and months to actually find a book and, who wrote the book, and then find this librarian in Germany or wherever it was. And then they finally found that the fact was actually incorrect. So through even their own system of verification, and I mean, this in the scientific community had never been verified. It took this YouTube channel, albeit an amazing YouTube channel, to verify this fact that had been taken and accepted over the last 100 years or whatever it was, since the 1950s. I found that very interesting because it means that a lot of the time, and it's of course because the human brain loves to take shortcuts, it's easier to take someone's word than to question them. Otherwise we'd spend all our time questioning everything. So yeah, this one-sided approach thing, you just have to learn to know when to be critical. Like, not always be critical, but know when to be critical. Also, like, I'm going to make a video on the role biases play, and admiration for someone's work is fine, but it's never going to be reciprocal. That's not realistic. And that's why you should always question authority. Do your own fact checking. Don't take anything for gospel. Seek diverse sources of information and avoid blind loyalty to any one figure. Diversify your influences. Relying too heavily on a single source of knowledge or guidance can lead to an echo chamber, and that's become a buzzword the last few years. So yeah, it's always wise to engage with multiple viewpoints, you know what I mean? And live a real life. Some people are chronically online. I would say my online usage has definitely decreased. I've become a little bit disenchanted by a lot of the stuff online, and I think the more you live in a real life setting, talk to people, like go into a gym and actually watch what people are doing there, it's not at all what you see on the internet. Also what people are wearing, like the internet is completely bonkers when it comes to like how people look and what they dress and everything. A lot of it's just fake and a lot of it's just for entertainment. So again, take it all with a pinch of salt. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll see you in the next one.